on a hidden treasure, not of gold or jewels, but a mysterious book filled with ancient prophecies, right in the heart of Jerusalem. This isn't a scene from a movie, it's real life. A few hours back, archaeologists have discovered a long-lost manuscript that contains predictions from centuries ago, buried beneath the Dome of Rock in Jerusalem. What secrets does it hold? Who wrote them, and what could they mean for us today? So let's dive into this incredible discovery and unravel the mysteries hidden within the pages of this mysterious book. The differences in the number of holy books held by Catholics and Protestants stem from their views on the biblical Apocrypha. Catholics include 73 books in their canon, recognizing the Apocrypha, which comprises various religious works that diverge from traditional teachings. Protestants, on the other hand, typically have 66 books and do not include the Apocrypha in their canon. This discrepancy leads to fascinating variations in theological perspectives and depictions of biblical figures, particularly Jesus. For example, the Gospel of Thomas, an apocryphal text, presents Jesus in ways that contrast sharply with mainstream Christian teachings. It portrays him as wrathful, self-centered, and even disliking women, depictions that are unusual and challenging to conventional views. Another apocryphal text, the Gospel of Barnabas, goes even further by denying Christ's divinity, presenting him merely as a human and not as the Son of God. This gospel also offers an alternative narrative of the Last Supper, suggesting that Christ escaped through a window, leaving Judas Iscariot to face crucifixion in his place. These variations are not only confined to the New Testament Apocrypha, but are also reflected in some texts dating back to Old Testament times, where the portrayal of biblical events and figures can be equally enigmatic. Such texts introduce layers of complexity to biblical interpretation and challenge the established boundaries of Orthodox Christian theology. In the apocryphal texts, revelations challenge conventional beliefs, such as angels depicted as flesh and blood humans, and the notion of God as an extraterrestrial entity. The Vatican specifically discredits the apocryphal Book of Enoch, which purportedly contains remarkable revelations that could pose conflicts with current church doctrines. This aversion has sparked speculation about whether the text harbors inconvenient truths that could undermine established religious teachings. Discovery of the Book of Enoch. The original Book of Enoch was among the ancient texts discovered by young shepherds in a remote cave in 1946. This text, which briefly mentions Enoch portrayed as a righteous man related to Seth, Adam and Eve's son, has sparked theological debates about his divine interactions. Various ancient sources, including the Egyptian Chronicle and Samaritan artifacts, attribute remarkable feats to Enoch, fostering theories that his knowledge extended far beyond the brief references in the Bible. The Book of Enoch holds a significant place in Hebrew tradition and is believed to have been written between the 2nd and 3rd centuries BCE. It encapsulates what are likely much older oral traditions. Enoch is referenced in Genesis as the father of Methuselah and the great-grandfather of Noah, and is one of the earliest figures recorded as having been taken by otherworldly beings. Unlike typical abduction narratives, Enoch's departure appears to have been voluntary. In Genesis chapter 5, the text states that Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him away. However, this has led to some intriguing scholarly debates regarding possible mistranslations. The term God in this context is translated from Elohim, which is actually a plural noun in Hebrew, suggesting not a single divine entity, but rather powerful beings. Thus, a more accurate interpretation might be that Enoch walked with these powerful entities, and they were the ones who took him away, indicating an extraordinary encounter far beyond ordinary understanding. The Vatican's skepticism towards Enoch's writings, which focus on pre-Old Testament events like the Great Flood, raises intriguing questions. Enoch's detailed narrative diverges significantly from canonical biblical texts by elaborating on the union between earthly women and divine beings, resulting in the birth of giants. According to the Book of Enoch, giants arose from the union of divine beings and earthly women, leading to societal imbalance and widespread oppression. This situation necessitated a global flood to restore peace by eradicating these giants. Elements of this narrative are reflected in other texts, such as the Epistle of Jude, highlighting its historical significance. While the Ethiopian Orthodox Church regards the Book of Enoch as important, the Vatican has excluded it from the official Bible, mainly due to its unconventional portrayal of divine beings introducing sin to earth. Historical contentions about the Book of Enoch include debates over its authorship and authenticity, with recent discussions even labeling it as a forgery. This ongoing skepticism prompts deeper reflection on the Vatican's steadfast dismissal of the text. Despite being excluded from the canonical Bible, the possibility of undisclosed revelations within the Book of Enoch continues to intrigue scholars and theologians, especially considering its alignment with diverse ancient narratives about giants and celestial beings. The correlation between stories from various cultures about giants sparks further inquiries into the Book of Enoch's narratives. For example, Greek mythology features the Titans, who are akin to the Nephilim described in Enoch. These Titans battled Zeus and were imprisoned in Tartarus, an abyss similar to biblical descriptions. The linguistic connections between the terms Titans and giant across multiple languages establish a direct link between Enoch's narratives and ancient Greek beliefs, suggesting a shared mythological heritage that transcends cultural boundaries. The official Bible minimizes significant mentions of giants, leading to speculation about the Church's potential motives to conceal their historical prominence. This oversight extends into American folklore, which references giants and suggests their coexistence with humans. Noteworthy archaeological finds, such as a burial ground with a massive bone approximately 2.5 meters long, surrounded by individuals adorned with jewelry, indicate the revered status of giants in ancient societies. Such discoveries, including the remains of a giant king and his followers, hint at a past era where giants may have held dominion over humans. The Book of Enoch and the legacy of giants. The Book of Enoch provides further insights into the existence of giants, proposing that the Nephilim-descended giants were revered as demigods, contrary to divine instructions. This narrative challenges the mainstream biblical accounts and suggests that giants had a significant, albeit controversial, role in ancient civilizations. Some scholars argue that evidence from various sources points to a limited group of giants who survived the Great Flood and subsequently assumed leadership roles, remaining hidden from mainstream historical accounts for centuries. The possibility that giants walked the earth and interacted with early human societies.
This one's the perfect gift for anyone who needs a few extra pockets but don't want to carry a bag. The Personal Pocket Bag, the best-selling anti-theft bag by Valken. This crossbody has a pocket.
Raises profound questions about our historical and religious understanding. The notion that these beings could have survived cataclysmic events and shaped early human civilization suggests a complex interplay of myth, legend, and reality that has been obscured or overlooked in official religious texts. The Church's hesitance towards the Book of Enoch may be rooted in its audacious claims about the Nephilim, often depicted as fallen angels, and the potential portrayal of these beings as extraterrestrial. Enoch's descriptions challenge traditional biblical interpretations and present complexities that could disrupt established doctrinal frameworks. The reluctance to embrace such narratives likely stems from their potential to significantly alter the accepted theological landscape and raise questions about the origins and nature of divine beings. Enoch's texts, which date back around 5,000 years, demonstrate surprisingly precise knowledge of celestial mechanics, predating recognized historical figures such as Copernicus and Galileo by millennia. His writings acknowledge the spherical nature of Earth and its orbit around the Sun, and categorize stars based on weight, brightness, and distance, concepts that align closely with modern astronomical classifications. Enoch's method for tracking celestial bodies remains impressively accurate and suggests an advanced understanding that begs further exploration of his sources of knowledge. The depth of Enoch's astronomical insights, including views that resemble Earth from space, surpass what would typically be expected from ancient observational capabilities. Such profound understanding forces us to reconsider the sources of his knowledge and the possible influences on his writings. Enoch's descriptions of atmospheric phenomena, such as lightning, also show remarkable parallels to modern scientific interpretations. Enoch's descriptions, potentially viewed from a celestial vantage point, depict a visit to the palace of a supreme deity, portrayed as a crystalline structure illuminated by a radiant, cold light akin to fire and snow. This evocative imagery parallels contemporary artificial lighting and hints at an advanced understanding of celestial mechanics, including Earth's roundness and orbital dynamics. Ancient scriptures, such as the Indian epics, also speak of aerial abodes known as vimanas, similar to the flying house described in the Book of Enoch. Comparative analysis suggests a possible link between Enoch's writings and Hindu narratives, indicating a transcultural depiction of these flying structures. Despite the geographical and cultural distances, these narratives share a core essence that may extend beyond mere religious text. They could represent detailed accounts of encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The Vatican's hesitance to embrace the Book of Enoch could be due to its stark divergence from conventional Christian doctrines, particularly its introduction of extraterrestrial dimensions. Such content challenges traditional interpretations and presents a complex layer of understanding that intertwines divine encounters with potential visits from otherworldly entities, pushing the boundaries of conventional theological thought. The Bible mentions Enoch walking with God for 300 years, a phrase that sparks considerable curiosity about his life and experiences. Enoch's interactions, as detailed in his narratives, include bathing in fragrant liquids resembling incense and receiving luminous robes, symbolizing purification before his communion with the divine. These elements show a deeply spiritual experience, using vivid symbolic imagery to describe what might be considered extraordinary encounters. The modern version of the Book of Enoch, discovered in Egypt in the 18th century, has undergone numerous translations and interpretations, which may have altered its original essence. Despite these variations, viewing Enoch's descriptions through a non-religious lens suggests he might have been attempting to articulate encounters with extraterrestrial entities. His use of metaphors and mythical imagery acts as a tool to describe these unfamiliar experiences to his contemporaries. The Book of Watchers. The Book of Enoch tells us many stories, like the Book of Watchers, which talks about beings from the sky who took human women and made them pregnant. Enoch shares his journeys through different places, uncovering hidden truths about the universe. The Book of Parables talks about God's judgment on these beings and what will happen to humanity, promising a savior from the heavens. Uriel, a guide, helps Enoch on his travels, teaching him about stars and how the universe works. Enoch believes the earth is flat and covered by a dome, but his experiences are similar to those in other Hebrew stories, like Ezekiel's. Ezekiel tells a story of being taken by a craft and ending up in Tel Aviv, where he talked with a pilot who looked human. Ezekiel couldn't fully explain the craft, showing a gap between his experience and his words. These stories, like the Book of Enoch and Ezekiel, are called apocalyptic literature. They record experiences that writers couldn't fully understand. Ezekiel's detailed story challenges the idea that his experience was just a vision. It suggests he might have encountered advanced technology. Similar stories of flying crafts and space travel appear in Hindu texts and ancient art from Egypt and Mesoamerica. But
PostNet helps Respray Haiti with our fundraising by designing.
He travels through the cosmos with Uriel, a guide who doesn't seem human. Enoch tries to make sense of this cosmic knowledge, similar to ancient myths worldwide, which also contain detailed information about the stars. Ancient civilizations like the Mayans, Aztecs, Sumerians, and Egyptians also had detailed astronomical knowledge. This makes us wonder how they knew so much about the stars in ancient times. One example is the Dogon people of Mali, who shared amazing information about the Sirius star system with scientists, adding to the mystery of ancient cosmic knowledge, extraterrestrial theories, and human origins. Enoch's depiction of angelic beings as humanoid forms challenges traditional notions about alien life. British astronomer Fred Hoy proposed an intriguing hypothesis suggesting that life originated beyond Earth and advanced to inhabit other habitable planets. This theory posits an advanced extraterrestrial society that could have influenced human development, presenting a narrative where humans are descendants of extraterrestrial beings. This perspective diverges significantly from Earth's conventional evolutionary narrative, introducing a complex layer of potential extraterrestrial influence on human history. Enoch's narratives include depictions of humanoid fallen angels, which resonate with modern discussions about genetic connections between cosmic ancestors and Earth's inhabitants. These stories raise intriguing questions about interspecies interactions. Specifically, Enoch's text suggests that fallen angels mingled genetically with earthly women, hinting at a potential extraterrestrial influence on human genetics. This idea finds a parallel in scientific discoveries, such as the presence of Neanderthal DNA in the human genome, which supports the possibility of interspecies breeding. Today's efforts to contact extraterrestrial life are driven not only by curiosity about alien species, but also by a desire to connect with what might be our ancestral roots, which can be traced to cosmic origins. Despite skepticism from the Vatican and scholarly circles, stories from various cultures add layers of credibility to the notion of extraterrestrial influence. For instance, the Dogon people of Western Sudan have legends recounted by American researcher Carl Shawn, about visitations from beings who shared cosmic secrets. Initially dismissed as mere fables, these myths gained credibility following a European traveler's visit in the 1930s, which coincided with and possibly influenced the indigenous accounts of the Sirius star system. Controversial themes and forbidden knowledge. Further, the Book of Watchers, covering chapters 1 through 36 of the Book of Enoch, narrates interactions between extraterrestrial beings known as Watchers and humans. This part of the text details how these celestial beings shared crucial knowledge with humanity, significantly influencing the development of civilizations. A key area of knowledge imparted was astronomy, including intricate details on celestial mechanics and lunar cycles. One major question arises from these accounts. How did the writer come to possess such advanced celestial knowledge? The theories vary. Some suggest direct physical observation, while others propose altered states of consciousness, ancient textbooks, or even remote viewing as possible explanations. This book also introduces a provocative narrative where 200 Watchers abduct human women. This storyline not only parallels, but also expands upon similar themes found in the Genesis account of the Bible. Furthermore, the protagonist Enoch experiences what could be described as an abduction, mirroring ancient Sumerian stories that depict Watchers as celestial observers stationed in the stars. The Book of Enoch was eventually excluded from official biblical canons despite its initial acceptance by early Christians. Editorial decisions aimed at shaping a strictly monotheistic worldview contributed to its exclusion. The book's explicit descriptions of interactions with non-human entities presented a challenge to traditional biblical interpretations, suggesting a possible extraterrestrial presence that conflicted with established religious doctrines. Examining ancient civilizations. Carl Sagan and Ukrainian scientists investigated the Apkallu legend from ancient Sumeria and wondered if the sudden rise of advanced civilizations there might have involved help from outside Earth. In the US, a large number of people disappear every year, especially in national parks. But this is often ignored. People who have had encounters with extraterrestrials usually keep quiet about them because they're afraid of ridicule. This silence makes it hard to learn more about these mysterious encounters. The Book of Enoch tells us about Uriel teaching Enoch about the cosmos, a story similar to many indigenous tales from around the world. After such encounters, some people show improved mental abilities, similar to what's seen in acquired savant syndrome. This is also mentioned in the Mami Wata tradition. Although it might seem strange in the West, the Book of Enoch shares common themes with stories from many indigenous cultures, pointing to a wider pattern of human interactions with non-human entities. Ancient texts like the Book of Enoch and the Qumran caves offer insights into historical interactions between humans and extraterrestrial beings. It's important to listen to and respect personal stories to gain a deeper understanding of these cosmic encounters. Ethiopia uniquely includes the Book of Enoch in its biblical canon. This collection includes different parts, such as the Book of Watchers, Parables of Enoch, Astronomical Book, Book of Dreams, and Epistle of Enoch, dating from the 3rd to the 1st century BCE. This inclusion provides a special view into ancient stories. The authorship of the Book of Enoch is traditionally attributed to Enoch himself, a descendant of Adam and Eve. His family connections bring up more mysteries about other historical figures from his time. The Qumran caves in the Judean mountains were a hiding place for many ancient manuscripts, including the Book of Enoch. The community there, likely the Essenes, valued this text greatly. Chapters 85 to 90, for example, seem to predict the rise of different tribes, empires, and significant figures like Jesus of Nazareth and the 12 apostles. Historically, early church fathers like Tertullian, Justin Martyr, Origen, and Clement of Alexandria often referenced the Book of Enoch as if it were scripture. This raises questions about why, despite its initial widespread acceptance, it was later excluded from the official biblical canons.
Volume 20.
What do you think of the
Volume 24.
mysteries just found in Jerusalem? Comment below your views and subscribe for more.